When planning a shoot, everything comes down to one question. How do we build a specific mood and make a space visually interesting? For this project, we brought a new tool to this old train station. Here in this scene, we were really chasing that dark, atmospheric David Fincher vibe. But with no complex setups. Just pushing a single bright light source through a window to see what happens in a large space like this. But as independent videographers, testing gear like this always comes with a healthy dose of skepticism. Does a massive leap in power actually change your final image? Or is it just a luxury on paper that rarely impacts your day-to-day workflow? We wanted to find out. So we ran some practical side-by-side tests. So for most of my everyday video productions or film productions, I thought that a 600 watt light was pretty much all I would ever need. I use my 600 watt lights all the time and they are great. But when you look at massive film sets, and we're talking actual movies or high-end commercials with huge crews and multiple departments, the gold standard for blasting light through a window has always been HMI lights, like the famous ARRI M40. And these lights are hard to work with in today's standards. So they are pretty heavy, they draw a lot of power, so you pretty much have to use a generator. They create a lot of heat, and you can't adjust the color temperature. And now we have that exact same or comparable power in modern LED lights. So I had a pretty pragmatic question for myself, and that is, do you actually need a light that is this bright as an independent videographer? And since I've never used a bright light like this before, I had to figure out the real world use cases myself. And we did that by bringing it to an old converted train station. One of my friend's parents, they own it, and they were kind enough to let us shoot there for a day. Before jumping into specific side-by-side comparisons, we wanted to play around with the quality of the light. Completely bare, no softboxes, no diffusion, just a standard 45-degree reflector. What immediately stands out is how clean the fall-off is. Even when pushing the fixture this hard, the transition from the brightest highlights into the deep shadows feels completely organic. Looking at the monitor, these shots kind of give off that distinct Blade Runner 2049 vibe. We accidentally stumbled into that specific aesthetic. It's all about those heavy silhouetted shapes, a thick atmosphere, and that iconic warm amber glow. It just looks incredibly rich. So actually, this is the ballast of the Godox 2400 Bi. I'll put the weight up here somewhere. It is pretty heavy, and again, as someone who's not using these kinds of lights on a regular basis, I would highly recommend using a crank-up stand or a wind-up stand. We used it with a combo stand, and I would definitely not recommend doing that again. The build quality on the Godox 2400 Bi is exceptionally solid. The connectors and the fixture itself feel durable, with a highly premium finish. Also, it's incredibly simple to use. Just the power button and one knob for brightness and color temperature. If you want an in-depth technical review with exact metrics on brightness and SSI, I highly recommend checking out Andrew Locke from Gaffer & Gear. We also wanted to test this on something we do on a more regular basis, and that is a standard interview. And in order to do that, we did a side-by-side with 3 different scenarios to see if it's actually worth bringing a bright and heavy light like this on set if you also have access to more practical 600 watt lights. We started the comparison by rigging the 2400 Bi outside the window, pushing it through diffusion material as our key. What instantly stands out is not just how bright it keeps the subject, but how it lifts the entire ambience of the room in a natural way. Next, we swapped it for a 600 watt light inside a softbox. The output on the subject is still okay, but because it doesn't lift the room's ambience as much, the light source feels a little more directional and less natural. And by the way, we are filming this on the Pixel 6K. It's a really great camera, and seeing how the sensor handles these highlights is beautiful. Looking at all 3 setups side by side, the frame on the right, with the softbox pushed in close, is the brightest on the subject, but it also looks the most artificial. The middle frame is the cleanest on the face, but it lacks room ambience. So to me, the 2400 Bi through the window on the left delivers the most convincing natural look. And finally, we tried a mix. We moved the Godox further back outside to mimic distant sunlight coming through the window in the background, and then used the 600 watt softbox inside to fill the subject. Now let's add some haze. And now, let's see how it looks with some color grading. Ha, perfect. We also took a few stills to see how this light performs for photography. You can tell especially on the photos that it looks like genuine sun. The output is strong enough to deliver that convincing sunlight look. And that's where today's sponsor comes in. A huge thanks to the team at MediaTek for sending this light over for testing. If you don't know them yet, they offer a wide range of video, audio and studio gear and are based in Cologne, Germany. Also, they are just great people. So if you want to check them out, or if you need high-end equipment like this for your next big shoot, there is a link in the description. Surprisingly, the light also comes with a softbox. At first, I wondered about the use cases for a softbox on a light this bright. One practical application is blacking out the background. Here is the scene with natural light. And here it is with the 2400 Bi at 100%, completely overexposed. But by introducing 10 stops of ND, the inverse square law takes effect. Since I'm standing close to the light, the background drops into complete darkness, making it look like I'm walking into the shot out of nowhere. To get the look this clean, I placed the light slightly more to the side compared to the previous shot, and then dropped the exposure by 3 stops in post. It's an incredible transformation when you remember we went from the original daylight look to this dramatic contrast using just a single light. Another great use case is keying a subject in direct sunlight. As you can see, you can easily match the high ambient exposure around you. That is actually crazy. So what do you guys think? Is this actually a light we need as independent videographers? Does it make our commercials better? Does it make our interviews better? Or is it just a big nice to have? I think it is pretty spectacular how a light like this can change the atmosphere of a scene, and I also think that the environmental lighting you get out of this light is beautiful. but I'm still wondering if I would buy a light like this or if I just rent it out if I need it. Most of the time, I'm not lighting large, old converted train stations. I'm lighting office spaces or, you know, spaces that are as big as this room. And there's a window here actually. And I know that if I put a 600 watt light out there, it's going to be sufficiently bright to get a realistic sun effect in here. Godox is already introducing a successor to this light, so there's going to be a newer version. So the price of this light is probably going to drop pretty soon, which makes it even more appealing to get into that HMI territory if you're looking to buy. By the way, I just love this lens. It's the Lumix S Pro 24-270 on the S1 Mark II. That's the autofocus in phase priority, and the settings are all set to low speed and sensitivity, but the look of this lens is just great. Yeah, highly recommend this lens. For the final touch, we wanted to see how this light performs as a low horizontal evening sun, to fake a sunset cafe scene with two people meeting at a table. The quality of light mimics genuine sunlight on a cloudy day. It is incredibly rewarding to light an entire sequence with just one single fixture, giving you the complete freedom to place the camera wherever you want. Let me know. Do you think this setup looks like believable sunlight? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you have any questions, I'm trying to answer every single one of them. Drop a like and hit subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one.